Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, as you check out temperatures across the prairie here early on Friday morning, we've got a storm system, a trough, making its way from west to east across the prairie, and temperatures reflect that. Troughing in the west, ridging in the east. Again, cool air coming in on the backside of this storm system, warm air still feeding in advance of that warm and humid air, setting the stage for multiple rounds of showers and storms, at times some severe weather across the prairie. I'm going to show you some imagery here. I just can't help it. We can take a look at the satellite picture here and you see it. Look at the big counterclockwise swirl here, the big curl coming in. This is our upper level wave coming in from the west. Again, cooler air coming in along with that, but out in advance. Very unstable, very warm sector. Again, setting the stage for some showers and storms and at times some severe weather. We'll look at the radar here again early Friday morning, watching this Boeing complex traveling from southwest to northeast across first southeastern Saskatchewan into portions of southwest and then eventually central Manitoba. Really cool Boeing complex. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip over and show you a closer picture. We're looking at the radar here across the southern border of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And if I just kind of pause it here, right around 5:11 this morning, again, you see the Boeing shape to the storm here. And that's because we've got a rear inflow jet kind of feeding that from the rear side here, kind of punching in like that. And that causes the storms to arc and kind of bow like that. And you often get very strong, damaging winds along the leading edge of that storm system. And then what also happens is you get kind of, technical, complicated things happen here. You get warm, latent heat release in the precip shield on the back side there, and you can get an area of low pressure to develop. And we saw that. You see the counterclockwise swirl right here. And so this little area of low pressure then, at times, I'm using it as an example. This is not something I'm forecasting across the prairie, but sometimes you get these, they'll continue on off to the east or to the northeast throughout the day, and then end up being a focal point for thunderstorms to redevelop later on in the coming day, the coming afternoon and evening. So some of these thunderstorms that happen on day one can continue through the overnight, modify the environment around them, and then instigate thunderstorms in day two. So really kind of cool stuff we see during the summer. Now, Taylor Patton, one of our CPAs here in southeastern Saskatchewan, sent me some photos here, or tagged me in a post here with some hail damage to a barley crop right around the Carnduff area here. And I went ahead and looked at the radar from yesterday morning, and sure enough, here's the culprit, starting off as the cluster of thunderstorms here across parts of southeastern Saskatchewan yesterday morning. As it continued off to the east, we saw kind of one major storm taking over on the southern end, making its way right into the Carnduff area, and again producing some hail that damaged some crops in the area. Now, that was not the only severe storm yesterday. We had a beautiful supercell thunderstorm going over downtown Calgary. Of course, a very densely populated area. There was tons of photographs and videos on social media there that you're welcome to check out. But I just picked this one because I think it's kind of cool. We humans, we build these real tall skyscrapers and we marvel at them. And then Mother Nature just comes in and shows off and brings us these massive updrafts that just dwarf anything that we humans can build down here on the ground. You can see the inflow. This is the warm inflow tail feeding into the storm. And then you've got the spiraling updraft. This is where you've got the rotating updraft of that thunderstorm. And if you were to get a tornado here, it would be where kind of the inflow meets the updraft, and you get the rising motion there coupled with the rotation. So again, that was where it would expect, a thunderstorm to develop. But just textbook example here that I had to show off. And then again, my favorite video that came out of this was this trash can making its way down the road in the hailstorm here through Calgary. I guess it's had enough of that. Let's take a look at the instability forecast, though, as we head through the next couple of days, because we will continue to talk about severe weather, at least in central and eastern portions of the prairie today and tomorrow. Here's a look at the instability forecast today, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday here. Again, today I'm going to be watching that same boundary, the chance for some hail-producing thunderstorms here from portions of central Alberta into central and southern Saskatchewan, the Calgary area under the gun again, for some additional thunderstorms producing some large hail across this area, perhaps some photogenic storms once again. As we head into the day on Saturday, the front continues to push off to the east, so that now we've got this instability gradient kind of from, let's call it central Saskatchewan, down into central and southern Manitoba. So this would be the region that I'm most concerned about Saturday afternoon and evening. The system gets out of here by the time we get to Sunday, just some lingering weak instability, maybe some pop-up showers and storms producing some some marginal hail here across portions of central Saskatchewan on Sunday. So today, looking anywhere from Calgary Eastward across central Alberta into central and southern Saskatchewan for some hail-producing storms. Also looking for some strong storms across central and southern Manitoba. A better chance for some damaging winds and maybe even a tornado or two across this region. Saturday, it's going to be central Saskatchewan down into central southern Alberta. And then Sunday, much lower severe weather threat, maybe just some hail-producing storms across the region. So let's look at the precipitation forecast then as we head through the afternoon and evening hours. This will be about 7 p.m. this evening. Again, looking for isolated thunderstorms across central and southern Alberta into western Saskatchewan. As we head deeper into the overnight, we'll watch for more scattered storms to pop up across central and southern Alberta. As we head into Saturday afternoon and evening, here's that swirl, the counterclockwise swirl of our storm system. We'll watch for a rather classic severe weather setup here from central Saskatchewan down into central and southern Alberta. This is where we'll be watching for damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes on Saturday afternoon and evening. And then this thing continues off to the east such that by the time we get to Sunday, just on the backside, maybe looking for some showers and maybe some small hail with some of the more vigorous updrafts. That's about it. That takes us into a quiet next week as a ridge begins to build back in. We're going to see precipitation coming to an end across the prairie for several days. Here's a look at total precipitation between now and the end of the weekend. Again, if there's going to be anywhere that's rather dry and missed out, it's going to be near the southern borders of Alberta and Saskatchewan. North of that, this is where we'll have at least isolated strong storms as we head through the next 2 days. And then as we head into Saturday or Friday into Sunday, watching for that shower and storm chance off to the east. Now the transition that happens of the jet stream, here's the trough in the west, the ridge in the east. That's the reason for the cooler temps coming in on the backside here, the warmer air feeding in advance, and then the gradient between those two where we have the very strong jet stream winds. That's where we end up with that thunderstorm and that severe weather threat. So a very textbook stormy pattern across the prairie right now. As we head into the weekend, into early next week, though, that trough continues off to the east, such that by the time we get to the early part of next week, getting into Monday and Tuesday, we're now ridging across the prairie, the entire prairie. The trough moves off to the east, cooler air being taken with it across the Midwest, the Great Lakes of the U.S., with warmth once again returning to the prairie. So a big warm-up on tap and a big shift to drier weather as the stronger jet stream winds and the rainfall associated with that shift off to the north of the prairie. So let's talk about temperatures first then as we head into the coming week. Again, we're cooler in the east right now, or cooler in the west now, warmer in the east. Cooler temperatures will overspread just about the entire prairie on the backside of our storm system as we head through the weekend into early next week. But then as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, temperatures shifting back above normal across the entire prairie, up to 5 to maybe 8 degrees warmer than average at times. So we'll look at the precipitation forecast. We've really covered it well in depth because it comes to an end after the next 2 to 3 days. Again, as we head through the afternoon and evening hours today, that threat for strong storms anywhere from central Alberta into central and southern Saskatchewan and then central and southern Manitoba as we head through the late part of the day today. We'll take this into Saturday afternoon and evening, watching for the threat for some strong storms from central Saskatchewan into central and southern Manitoba. More general thunderstorms expected back toward the north and to the west from there. And then as we get into Sunday, the storm system begins to push off to the east, bringing precipitation to an end. We're now going to be ridging across the prairie here, bringing warmer temperatures and drier weather in. You can follow the dates up here. We're into Monday, now getting into Tuesday, getting into Wednesday, now getting into Thursday. As we get into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe starting to reintroduce, at least across the high plains, the chance for some showers and storms, but by and large, a quiet work week setting up across the Canadian prairie. As we take a look at the probability of picking up an inch or more of precipitation between now and the last day of July, again, you see the driest corridor here going to be across the southern border of Alberta and Saskatchewan, but none of the ag belt here with real high probabilities of picking up an inch of precipitation unless you head well off to the north and to the west across the Peace River region up towards Edmonton. Otherwise, looking at a transition to a drier and warmer week across the Canadian prairie. So here's a look at your high temperatures then. Cooler over the weekend as we deal with the cooler air mass on the backside here. Calgary warming up to a high of 31 on Tuesday. Edmonton, you're cooler through the weekend as well, warming back up to around 30 on Tuesday. Delay it a couple days in Saskatoon, 31 for the high on Wednesday and Thursday. Regina and then Winnipeg over in the east will delay this even a couple days longer. You're warm still, 32 for the high on Saturday. Mid-20s Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, warming up to around 30 degrees as we move toward a warmer and drier pattern next week.